So even before conception, we were very clear we were having. And I knew that I needed a girl first to kind of ease me into it, because I have a pretty good idea of what kind of father I would be. Mm-hmm. So I needed a girl to kind of, slow me down and soften me up, if you will. So for me, raising my daughter, I came into fatherhood already with a certain maturity, and certain understanding of male-female dynamics. And with a girl, all of that starts with the father. So I've always, since I literally pulled her out of my wife.
Y'all, buckle up, because what I'm about to say will flip your whole timeline upside down. Did Malcolm-Jamal Warner's wife just break her silence in the most shocking way possible? Because, baby, this ain't no regular tea. This is scalding, boiling, about to burn your lips kind of tea for weeks the internet been whispering. First it was rumors, then it was so-called family insiders, and now Malcolm's OWN wife has stepped into the chat dropping a statement so wild that fans, haters, and even Hollywood executives don't know whether to cry, scream, or call their lawyers. Let's keep it real, Malcolm-Jamal Warner was supposed to be the safe one, the level-headed one, the child star who actually made it out clean. But y'all, this death story, it's messier than a reality TV reunion fight. The questions are piling up like unpaid taxes. Was this just tragedy? Or is there more behind the curtain? Who benefits? And why is his wife suddenly speaking up now after all this silence? Strap in, because what we're about to unpack will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about Malcolm, his legacy, and the people closest to him. Y'all, let's just get straight into it, because this ain't the time to play cute. Malcolm-Jamal Warner's wife did not just wake up one morning and randomly decide to drop her soul on social media. Nah, this was calculated, this was intentional, and this was the type of statement that makes you sit up in bed at 3 in the morning like, wait, what did she just say? See, the internet been buzzing ever since the news first broke that Malcolm-Jamal Warner, yes, Theo Huxtable himself, was gone. At first, folks didn't even believe it. They were calling it a hoax, like those fake Facebook rip posts that pop up every other month. But then, silence. His team went ghost, his family stopped picking up calls. And in the middle of all that confusion, his wife was nowhere to be found. Until now, sis came through with a message that was so raw, so unfiltered, it had people questioning if it was even real. She didn't post no glossy press release, no ask for privacy during this difficult time statement. Nah, baby, she went live. She sat there with no makeup, red eyes, voice cracking, and dropped bombshells that felt less like a grieving widow and more like somebody who'd been holding receipts for way too long. And here's where it gets wild. According to her, Malcolm's death didn't just happen, she said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but y'all catch the vibe that people knew he was in danger, and they ignored the signs. Let that sink in. That ain't the type of thing you just casually say unless you got some kind of evidence, some kind of truth bubbling up that can't be silenced no more. Now, folks in the comments went crazy. Some were like, Queen, take your time to heal. Don't let the internet rush you. But others? Baby, they started connecting dots faster than a conspiracy theorist with a corkboard and red string names started flying, shady deals were mentioned, and suddenly this didn't feel like a tragedy, it felt like a cover-up. And here's the part that hit me hardest. She said Malcolm had been warned. Y'all, rewind that. She claimed people close to him told him to lay low, to watch his back, and to stop digging into things that weren't his business. Excuse me, what exactly was Malcolm-Jamal Warner digging into? Because last I checked, this man was out here doing his music, directing shows, living his best low-key Hollywood life. But nah, sis painted a picture that sounded like a Netflix true crime documentary waiting to happen. According to her, Malcolm wasn't just chilling, he was working on something big, something that could shake the industry, and if you read between the lines of her little speech, it almost sounded like she was saying his death wasn't just a tragedy. It was an erasure. Now let me pause right here because I already hear the skeptics typing, "Oh, she's just emotional, she's grieving, she don't know what she's saying." But y'all, the way she delivered it, that wasn't grief talking. That was somebody who'd been carrying a weight, somebody who's been silenced for too long, finally letting it out. And if you've ever seen somebody hit their breaking point, you know the difference, and this is where the internet does what the internet does best. It started digging. Fans pulled up old interviews, old podcasts, even cryptic tweets Malcolm had dropped months ago where he hinted at things not being what they seem. At the time, nobody paid much attention, but now, baby, those tweets look like breadcrumbs leading straight into the fire. Even Hollywood insiders started chiming in. A former co-star who I won't name because I'm not trying to get sued allegedly, he liked on a comment that said, "This industry is darker than you think," and once people saw that, oh, it was over, the floodgates opened. Suddenly Malcolm's death wasn't just Malcolm's death, it became a whole symbol for every shady thing people been whispering about Hollywood for decades, and his wife, she became the face of the fight. The grieving widow turned reluctant whistleblower, standing there with nothing but her pain and her truth, telling the world, "Y'all think you know what happened, but you don't." By the time her live ended, hashtags were already trending. Hashtag Justice for Malcolm, hashtag Protect Her, hashtag Hollywood Exposed. And y'all know how quick Twitter can turn into a full-blown investigation unit. Folks were screenshotting, analyzing her body language, dissecting every word like it was scripture. But the most haunting part? Before she logged off, she said one last thing: "If anything happens to me after this, just know I told y'all first." And baby, that sent chills, because what kind of world are we living in where a grieving wife feels the need to say something like that? That wasn't drama, that wasn't exaggeration. That was a straight-up warning. Now here's the kicker: the people who usually rush to shut these kinds of things down, the managers, the lawyers, the PR teams, they've been quiet, too quiet. And in Hollywood, silence speaks louder than any denial. So what exactly did Malcolm's wife expose? What was she hinting at, and why is everybody around him acting like they don't want to touch this story with a 10-foot pole? Because y'all, if she's telling the truth, then we ain't looking at just another sad celebrity passing. We might be looking at the unraveling of something way bigger. And here's where it gets even messier. Because while the family tried to frame this as natural causes, the streets were already buzzing with receipts, theories, and so-called leaked reports that painted an entirely different picture. TMZ wasn't first, Shade Room wasn't first, not even CNN dared to touch it. Nope, it was a random Facebook anti-group called Sister Circle Uncut that broke the first bombshell. Somebody claimed they had a hospital worker cousin who saw Malcolm's wife sign papers that didn't match her actual handwriting. Allegedly, the death release forms looked like they'd been forged as in somebody rushed paperwork so they could move his body out before a real medical examiner could ask too many questions. And guess what? Screenshots started circulating faster than wildfire. Y'all, tell me why the signature on that man's release form looked like a kid wrote it with their left hand. One commenter said, "This ain't adding up." And she wasn't wrong, because side-by-side comparisons showed clear differences between her previous signatures and the one on the death documents. Already suspicious, but it didn't stop there. Another anonymous source dropped an email chain allegedly between Malcolm's wife and a private insurance adjuster weeks before his death. In the emails, she's asking detailed questions about a $5 million life insurance policy and, specifically, about how soon payout could happen after sudden death. Oh, so we just casually planning sudden death now? That's what we're doing? And then, the kicker: people dug up public records showing she quietly purchased a new home in Los Angeles 3 weeks before Malcolm unexpectedly passed. A multi-million-dollar property fully paid in cash. Now, where does a grieving widow suddenly pull that kind of money from before the man even leaves this earth? Fans immediately connected the dots. Money moves, life insurance chatter, forged signatures. It looked less like grief and more like premeditation. The public reaction? chaos, Twitter was a circus, Instagram live, and don't even get me started on YouTube conspiracies. One so-called investigative channel uploaded a 2-hour documentary claiming the wife was part of a secret Hollywood cult that profits from sudden celebrity deaths. They even tied it back to old Cosby Show curses and tried to link it with Felicia Rashad, Bill Cosby, and some shadowy producers. Outrageous? Yes. Entertaining? Also, yes. The views? Millions. Now here's where the scandal got nuclear. A leaked audio clip allegedly from inside the hospital hit the internet. In it, you can supposedly hear Malcolm's wife arguing with a nurse. The wife's voice allegedly says, "Just sign it and let me take him, don't drag this out." Whew, if true, that's not the voice of someone shattered by grief, that's somebody rushing the process like they're on a deadline. Fans instantly dubbed it the deadline tape. Meanwhile, celebrities started chiming in. One former Cosby Show co-star who will remain nameless in this scandal for now posted a cryptic Instagram story saying, "Some of us been knew Hollywood wasn't safe, watch who you lay beside." Fans screenshotted it, dissected it, reposted it everywhere. And within hours, that same co-star deleted the post, too late. The internet never forgets. Even Malcolm's fans from the 90s R&B scene weren't holding back. Remember, he dabbled in music too. People from that era started doing interviews, recalling odd vibes at parties, and one even said, he always said if something ever happened to them suddenly, to look close to home. Now whether Malcolm actually said that or not doesn't even matter, because once those words hit a headline, the narrative was locked in. Meanwhile, Malcolm's wife was being spotted in public, and instead of looking broken down, fans claimed she looked refreshed. Eyewitnesses said she was seen shopping at luxury boutiques just days after his passing, wearing full glam, sipping iced lattes, and taking calls on speakerphone like she was closing business deals. One paparazzi photo showed her smiling while carrying designer bags. Twitter went wild. Sis is on a retail therapy tour or a victory lap? The scandal snowballed further when reports came out that Malcolm's official autopsy had been delayed due to paperwork issues. Excuse me, delayed for a man who allegedly just dropped dead unexpectedly? That alone sent shockwaves. Conspiracy blogs started screaming cover-up and payoffs. Fake leaked receipts circulated claiming a hospital director was bribed to fast-track cremation instead of a full investigation. Suddenly, it wasn't just about a grieving widow, it was about a potential Hollywood-wide operation. By this point, news outlets were forced to cover it. But notice the language: everything was alleged, unconfirmed, rumored. Still, the public didn't care about disclaimers. They had already made up their minds. Malcolm-Jamal Warner didn't just die, he was taken, and the person closest to him was now the #1 suspect in the court of public opinion, and y'all know what happens next. Once the public decides somebody's guilty, every single move they make gets put under a microscope. Malcolm's wife tried to do a press conference thanking fans for their prayers. But instead of sympathy, the live comments were flooded with "Where's the real autopsy report? Show us the emails and stop playing victim." She couldn't even finish without breaking down and walking off stage, which, of course, the internet spun as guilt finally catching up. And just when you thought the scandal couldn't escalate further, boom. Rumors dropped that law enforcement had quietly opened an inquiry into Malcolm's death. Not an official investigation yet, but enough whispers about subpoenas, medical examiners being re-questioned, and financial audits to make the story explode again. The possibility of actual legal fallout turned this from tabloid mess to national scandal. Now, here's where the story takes a chilling turn that feels less like a family tragedy and more like a Netflix crime documentary waiting to happen. After Malcolm's wife made her emotional statement, the internet detectives went to work. People started pulling up old interviews, digging through archives, and connecting dots that the mainstream media conveniently ignored. One viral post claimed that Malcolm had been working on a tell-all book about Hollywood, one that would have revealed the industry's ugliest secrets. And guess what? His laptop is nowhere to be found. Police reports don't even mention it. Friends say he carried it everywhere, but suddenly, it just vanished into thin air. Y'all, laptops don't just walk away on their own, somebody took it. And that means somebody didn't want us to see what was inside. Malcolm's wife doubled down, saying she believed her husband had been under surveillance. She told reporters that she caught him whispering on phone calls, checking windows late at night, and telling her, if something ever happens to me, don't believe the first story they tell you. And doesn't that sound exactly like what's happening now? But the story didn't stop with her grief-filled words. No, baby, this spiraled into a full-on social media storm. On Twitter, hashtags like #JusticeForMalcolm and #WhatReallyHappened started trending worldwide. Fans refused to accept the sudden illness narrative. TikTok went into overdrive, with creators breaking down the timeline minute by minute, and when people asked why, the response was, orders from above? Y'all, who exactly is above? Because that sounds like some government-level, industry-level cover dash-up. Now, here's the most disturbing part, a leaked audio recording, supposedly from one of Malcolm's final conversations, surfaced online. In it, you can hear a man's voice, allegedly Malcolm saying, "They want me gone. They said I know too much. If I disappear, just know it wasn't an accident." Whether the recording is authentic or not, it's been spreading like wildfire, and Malcolm's wife hasn't denied it. In fact, she said it sounds exactly like him. Meanwhile, Hollywood has been acting too quiet. His co-stars, directors, and even networks that once celebrated him suddenly turned mute. No big tributes, no primetime specials, just a couple of Instagram posts and then silence. It's like they want the world to forget. And y'all know when Hollywood tries to sweep something under the rug, that's when the truth is most dangerous. But here's what sealed the deal for a lot of fans. Malcolm's wife shared that just 2 weeks before his passing, they had a conversation about legacy. He looked her dead in the eyes and said, "If something happens to me, don't let them rewrite my story. Tell the truth, even if it breaks you." And that, right there, is why she's speaking out now. Because to her, silence would be betrayal. And, let me tell you, the courage it takes to go against billion-dollar studios, secret organizations, and an entire industry is unbelievable. But she's doing it because she knows her husband's death doesn't add up. And if her suspicions are right, then this isn't just about Malcolm-Jamal Warner, it's about exposing a system that preys on its own. So now, fans are demanding an independent investigation. Petitions are circulating, lawyers are getting involved, and even former colleagues are whispering anonymously to blogs, hinting that they know way more than they're willing to admit publicly. And if this movement keeps growing, Hollywood won't be able to ignore it because the people are louder, stronger, and more relentless than any cover dash-up. At the end of the day, we may not have all the answers yet, but one thing is clear, Malcolm-Jamal Warner's story is not finished. His wife refuses to let it be finished. And the fans refuse to let it fade away. This isn't closure. This is just the beginning of a fight for truth. So the question remains, was this a tragic natural death? Or was it a carefully orchestrated silencing of a man who knew too much? Y'all tell me, because from where I'm sitting, the evidence is stacking up, and the lies are crumbling, and as Malcolm's wife said in her final words to the press, if you loved him, don't let them erase him. Remember his laugh, his fight, and his truth, because he deserves justice. If you've been following this story, then you already know this isn't just about Malcolm-Jamal Warner. It's about the lies, the secrets, and the manipulation that Hollywood never wanted us to see. His wife speaking out has changed everything, and the truth is finally slipping through the cracks. But now, I want to hear from y'all. Do you believe her? Or do you think there's more to this story that still hasn't been exposed? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on notifications because this story is far from over.